Hey everyone, Nick Shaheen here looking at Roku. Hopefully you can't hear the noise in the background. My son is hacking away at his pickup. He is building a trophy truck. So anyway, it's time to look at Roku again. I can't remember when I did the video last, but it wasn't too long ago. So time to check on it. So let me zoom out to a daily chart. Where are we here? Okay, too many screens. Daily chart, reset. Okay, not a good time, right? So this is about a year's worth of data, and it's like nothing happened. Look left. It all gave back. So there's good news. There is bad news. I don't judge it. I've shared my opinion. Fundamentally, I'm not a fan. They've been in business 17 years, and they still can't make money. Albeit, I do say it every time that the first chunk of the years, they didn't have the same setup where now everybody wants to stream. So if they are actually the aggregator, so they should be well set. However, I personally fail to see it. I don't need Roku for anything. I'm online. I don't have any. I cut the cord and I stream everything, and not for a minute do I ever think I need Roku for anything. So, having said that, I can trade the charts, and I've been spot on with the charts, helping people. So, daily chart is what everybody looks at, and I do have a lot of lines. Not as much as I thought I would. But anyway, I knew that up here it wasn't a buy. I knew that down here it wasn't a sell. And these are easy decisions. But along the way, there are tons of little lines. And this week, I shared a lot of little lines, and they all kind of came true. I'm learning new tricks, and I found a few new targets short term. And I'm going to share all the levels. So I'm going to zoom out to a weekly. Actually, not yet. So I'm going to zoom in to tell you where it's at right now. So markets are still reeling from COVID. Hopefully you all are safe and healthy. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. Okay, so this is hourly chart. So every candle is 60 minutes. So you can get a gauge of how many hours that is. Okay, and there was a tight situation with these two yellow lines, and then they played out. And look at it. It stopped where I said it would stop, not because I'm ingenious, because I'm looking left and finding where the levels that were significant from before. So if you were a Fibonacci guy, I bet you this is like close to some sort of a 50% of this. Okay, so it's exactly 50% of that. So this green line, whoops. This green line right there is half the rally. It's totally okay to give up half the rally. Now, this is not really a rally, it's a bounce from a drubbing. But you see what I mean? The extension, it's not going to go like this. It's going to go and breathe and go, hopefully. All right, so now the decision comes, what's next? I can tell you there is a very tight situation. So we've had lower highs, higher lows, actually lower highs and hitting the bottom. So you need this floor to hold. And if I'm looking left, it has reasons to hold, but it's too ginger. All it takes is one bad day generally in the market, not anything wrong with Roku, and then it goes back and retests the bottom that it just got off of. Conversely, look how tight the top is. So if anything, this candle looks pretty interesting. So I'm going to do this. And if this triggers, it's probably going to go that way. And then it's going to hit this and fail a little bit, and do this, take another breather, and try to get to that. So these are the two scenarios that are tight on an hourly chart. Most people don't trade this fast. So I'm going to zoom back out and to a daily and recenter it so we're all looking at the same thing again. I'm going to take out all the drawings. No, okay, actually let me put it back in. Okay. So I drew this head and shoulders, and I said this would be the downside if it broke down. If you watch the video, I bet you this will be on it. If not, you may have gotten emails about it. As soon as it lost the neckline, I said, uh-oh, this could be the bottom. And, you know, more than delivered and then some. Technically, it should have been longer. I think the technicians could draw it in a different way, and they would say it should have been longer. Maybe it still will be, and therein lies the problem. Okay, so I'm going to go to a weekly chart. I'm not here to poo-poo it or scare anybody. I'm sharing the levels that stick out to me. All right, so I'm going to mark it up. Forget the lines I already drew. Fresh. Let's talk through it. Fundamentals aside, here's what I'm seeing. Clearly on the way up, resistance, fight. Okay, so this is R, all throughout here, R, and then boom. Clearly here, whatever happened in this candle right there, they decided, oh, did we have this wrong? And look at the stinking rally. Holy cow. So from here to here, we can call this a rally, could we not? If I wanted to eyeball halfway, what, somewhere around here? Halfway? We'll check it after the fact. And so I can see a few levels that are visually different than others. I can see that they tried to do something here. Correct? They hit a wall, they fought over it, bounced off of it twice. They tried to hold it. This is probably the head and shoulders I drew, and then collapsed. So they came back. This was an overshoot. Why? Because they immediately refused it. This is a weekly chart. So that week was pretty bad a couple weeks ago, but they immediately refused it. Correct? So now they're above that line. So this, let's call this the neckline, right? R, and now it's support. So here's the assumption I would make. Not that I love the stock. This, I can assume it is support until it's breached. You can say, oh, it's breached. No, it's a weekly candle. It didn't close down there, so it almost doesn't matter. In fact, it could have shook out enough because it matches this bottom here to where now the stock has transferred hands. So somebody who bought it along the way here is weak, but not personally, but at the first sign of trouble, I'm out. So this shook out a lot of weak hands. So now it transferred ownership to somebody else. And this probably shook out everybody. So whoever missed this rally, I'm saying, hey, I get a chance to do it again. And then they buy. So the ownership of the stock transfers. This is me talking through it. I'm not saying anything fact. I'm not saying buy it or sell it. I'm just sharing. So here, that's the good news. Floor, right? So 70. But here's the bad news. I don't like seeing this. So let's say this happens. And some sort of a like this, and it gets back to here, and it tests support one more time. Okay. If this support fails on the second time, I'm not going to even say it. I think that's what I said in the other video. I don't want to even say it about losing this. Because, no, I'm not going to say it. All right. So this is an inverse cup and handle type of a situation. I call it like a ladybug situation. Why? Because it looks like a cup and a handle upside down. But also looks like a ladybug, right? And then if you draw legs for the ladybug, that's where price is going. If support fails. I'm not calling for this. I have to be aware that if support fails, an oh shit moment is coming for the stock. It's a weekly chart, so it's a developing candle on a weekly basis. They were nowhere near it. I'm speculating that they better not be drawing the right hand cup, the handle of this upside down cup. Now I know somebody's going to watch it and they get pissed off and say, God damn it, Nick, what are you saying? It's going to 30? What are you saying? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I hope they're not drawing this side. Okay, that's all I'm saying. I hope these dots are not happening. So if I'm long the stock and I see these dots happening, I should be honest with myself and say, technically, you say, oh, technicals don't matter. Fine, then ignore them. If you're trading without technicals, if you're investing without technicals, you're handing over the advantage to your opponent. What opponent? You say, every time you buy or sell a stock, there's an opponent that's doing the exact opposite of what you think is perfectly sane. They think that you're stupid and they're not. And you think that they're stupid and you're not. So only time will tell who's right. Using technicals will allow people to get ready for whatever is coming. So I am not calling for it. I'm saying, I did start by saying this, the assumption is that this is support until it actually fails. So back to the shorter term charts, this is a 2-hour chart. There's no evidence that it's headed down. In fact, I see some, on bad days, it's starting to not a complete faucet down the tube straight away. I'm seeing some bids in it. And let me see the volume profile. So it lost the levels on the volume profile, so I don't get any. I'm going to recenter it here. Okay, so now it fell out of where it should be. So here's the good news. This is a daily chart back until 1 year. So you can see now this pattern I talked about is not that obvious here. Because here, if I'm just looking at 1 year, I see it fell onto support, like here, and it worked great. Bounced right off of it. Yes, and it better not come back to it. Okay, so what's the upside potential? The exact opposite scenario of the other one, right? I scared the crap out of you and pissed you off with the other one, the ladybug. How about an upside down ladybug? Anyway, so this is a daily chart. This is an important candle to my eye. Why? Because it was an indecisive moment. They rallied hard. The next candle out of it is a doji. A doji denotes indecision. Oh my gosh. Okay, so stick with me. What does that mean? They open and close exactly the way they opened, almost. But during the day, they try to rally, they try to fail, and they have no clue. They come back to the middle to say, I love it. No, wait, I hate it. No, wait, you know what? I have no clue. Let's just close it where it was. And then immediate rejection. And they priced out almost this whole candle. But here's the important part. Look left. That is a good cluster of support that they sliced through for whatever reason down to here. Again, I will refuse it. So I'm with you. That ladybug pattern, the upside down cup and handle that's bearish, it's not the base case, as they say on Wall Street, for me. For me is they're going to try to do this. And if they can overcome this candle, so let's call the edge of that candle, it's probably a little bit lower, and they do this, they're going to rally a little bit. They're going to struggle a little bit here, but they want that ledge back. And that, my friends, is a big ask. So if I'm long Roku off of this, and I'm anywhere near here, anywhere in this zone, I book. What? Well, I want to lock my profits. I want to get my money out because it's going to face huge resistance here. That's my opinion. Look at all this action here. You know, they say supply, whatever. That's what this is. This is visually what this is. Starting to feel like John Madden here. So clean it up. I'm telling you, my opinion would be if I'm long from here, kudos. I lock some here because they did this. And I say to myself, as soon as they go above it, I relaunch. So even if I booked halfway up, this is the place where I rebuy because there's a new leg going. This candle right here is important to me. So there's a level of resistance here, but this is definitely a big level of resistance. That orange line here is a point of control for this whole period of time here. So this is the skinny. I mean, this is a lot of detail on Roku. I could denote a few things from these, but these are so wild that it's easier to almost ignore them except for the level. So level changes. Where it failed was not a coincidence. If I look left, that's the cluster we just talked about. And look, it was a ledge before too. So it all ties. I think I said I want to draw the extension here. So let's do Fibonacci on this whole rally. So the 50% is right there. Not a coincidence. Look at that. 50% is the neckline of my wonky head and shoulders that foretold this. So you can ignore it. If you didn't ignore the technicals and you saw it like I did and I shared it, then you would have gotten out or protected yourself at 97 and you didn't have to ride it all the way down to 60. You say, well, it came back. Well, I bet you anything they would have gotten stopped out somewhere down here because that's what retail people do. They get scared at the worst possible scenario. So anyway, hopefully I didn't piss off too many people here, but this is the absolute honest opinion on Roku, and I have no trade on Roku right now.